welcome to our channel Business Upside. I'm Zenia in conversation with Mr. Jain, founder and CEO of Trukkin. From being a corporate finance professional, he has driven his journey to become an entrepreneur. Today, we will be speaking with Mr. Jain and learning about his journey of establishing his business. Hello, Mr. Jain.
Hello, thank you for having me.
It's great to have you this morning with us, and we're going to begin with the conversation. So, for our first question, can you give us a brief idea about your business?
Sure. So Trukkin is a technologistic platform whereby we connect shippers and transporters and make it really simple, the whole trucking business, connecting the shippers who want to ship any kinds of goods on any kind of vehicle. And similarly for truck drivers who are there to earn the livelihood and transport the material. Trukkin is today operating in Saudi, in UAE, in Pakistan. We are connecting almost 12 to 13 countries in the Middle East and beyond. And we are providing services to all the corporate clients, which could be operating in various kind of sectors, such as manufacturing, trading, logistics. So we provide a complete one-stop solution, providing trucking business and infusing it with a lot of technology and digitization to improvise efficiency.
Great. So, can you just tell us what made you choose this type of business? I mean, bringing the logistics and technology together.
If you think about how logistics sector has evolved over the last 20 or 30 years, there was a very little digitization or infusion of technology into this space, whereas we saw a lot of technology being infused in taxi, car hailing market, etc. So, and we kind of see this across all the spectrum of our daily life, whether it's ordering food, it's ordering taxis, whether booking something else. But logistics, which is such a complicated and such a large part of the and such a vital part of the economy, where you'd require the goods to be moving, there wasn't much done around here. And I saw that gap and did some background work on it, validated there was a gap in the market, and I took a leap of faith that there is going to be a change coming into this kind of sector in the region. So being present in the Middle East because of my previous career kind of helped me to do my on-the-ground research here in Saudi and the rest of the GCC, and took that leap of faith to start that.
Great. I mean, when I first came across the name of your company, I was really impressed. It's simple, yet it's very catchy. I mean, how did you come up with this name?
So there's a long story behind it. Before we locked down the name on Trukkin, I had thought through thousands of names. So I had thought that there needs to be 2 or 3 parameters which needs to tick boxes. So I had looked through all the Arabic names, through English names, hybrid of Arabic and English names, which should make sense. And so my first goal was, the name should be small, not too long, so that it's easy for people to remember. The domain name should be available on that, and it should ring in your ear, right? Once you hear it, it should not be one of those normal words, which is there in the dictionary. It has to be a made-up word so that the word itself stands out. And I remember after screening through 1,000 words, I had no answer. And then one day I was just sitting and just thinking, and somehow I coined this Trukkin, and I checked with few people. Everyone said, yeah, this sounds good. And I checked the domain name was available, and then I just went for it. And now
This was
it
just
has,
meant for you.
yes.
I think from this, we can pick a piece of advice that the name of a company should be short and something that people can remember easily. I must commend you that it's a very innovative name that you have for your company.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So you've already mentioned that you're providing technologistics. Is there any other services that you're providing apart from this technologistics?
Sure. So what we are doing is, we started as an overland transportation company, which is where we champion infusing technology and digitization. But as the business has grown, as we have scaled through multiple countries serving various geographies, we are adding a lot of other services which are part of the overall logistic offering. whether it's full truckloads, less than truckloads, express shipments, customs and clearances, etc. So the business is evolving. There's a lot of new interesting services and products which we are coming across, which our clients want, and we keep on adding that as per our clients' requirements.
Great. So, do you work nationally, or have you been able to go international? And have you been, I mean, are you bounded within the Middle East, or have you been able to expand it?
So we have expanded to Pakistan in 2020, despite pandemic.
Wow.
We went and launched the business. Today we are across, 5 to 6 offices in Pakistan. We have a full team across there. We have connected north, south, east, west, basically pan Pakistan. We are present. Also in the Middle East, although we are physically present in Saudi and UAE, but our trucks go to almost 12 to 13 countries in the Middle East, all the way to North Africa, Egypt, to Lebanon, to all the GCC countries. So the trucking has been growing pretty fast.
Oh, that's great. That's great. When did you actually start with the business?
We started the business in 2017.
Oh, I must say then that it has been a real fast growth. I mean, to cover all these areas, it's been real fast.
We have been fortunate to have a strong team to help build the business. Yes.
That's great. How do you market your business, and which tactics that you follow has been most useful for you?
See, we believe in word of mouth marketing, and we also believe in standing up to our service and let our clients do the marketing for us. So at the end of the day, it's your customers which makes your business, and not some sort of a marketing.
Right.
So we truly believe that when we work with a certain client, we leave a certain level of experience with them. We take their feedback, we improvise, and we let our clients become our brand ambassadors to help unlock other clients where required, and combined with some sort of digital marketing to help us. When we started the business, obviously day one, no one knows the business, so a bit of uh, information around our business then, but then usually we have left our clients and our services do the talking.
Great. I mean, I must say I'm enjoying this conversation with you, because every time I'm questioning you, you are answering those. At the same time, you've been giving out some real good advices.
Thank
This
you.
is, I'm really enjoying this conversation.
Likewise.
So for the next question, how do you build a successful customer base? I'm asking this question because you just mentioned you have left it on your customers to do the marketing for you. They are your brand ambassadors. So how do
Yes.
you build a customer base?
See, it's an interesting question, because when you think about customers could be far ranging from, because our customer bases are corporates, we deal only with B2B clientele. Our business doesn't usually require dealing with an individual, because we're into heavy truck movement. So the requirement is generally from factories and businesses alike. So there could be clientele who would require maybe 1 truck a day to versus someone who might require 100 trucks a day. What one needs to realize, and what we truly believe in, is we just don't go and try to get all the customers who are out there, or all the potential clients who are out there. We want to assess where we can add value. Can we truly add a value to that client's need? Can we improvise his experience? And by taking some other clients, do we dilute the experience of our existing clients? So when you think through all these things, you look at various businesses, and then you make the right decision of which clients you want to serve at the moment. In the long run, we would be expanding our clientele much more. Today, we are serving over 150 corporate clients across Middle East and Pakistan, and there's an opportunity to increase a lot more clientele. But the reason we carefully choose that, to make sure that we have enough resources and we are not resource constrained in terms of providing them the service, because it goes back to that same question about how do we market ourselves. We want to leave a good experience in our client's mind, and we want them to champion our business to increase further. So I think patience and making sure that we deliver the right kind of service and quality before going and unlocking, all kind of clientele is extremely important. Knowing your own strengths and weaknesses, where we can add value.
Right. I mean, that was exactly my next question. How do you retain your customers? As you have just already answered that, I mean, you do have certain strategies that you've just mentioned, that adding value.
And customer, you raised a very interesting point about customer retention, because customer retention is a very important metric that I look into. And we are proud to say that we have almost 98% of customer retention, which
Wow.
means that once you unlock a customer, they are your customer for life.
True.
And as long as that high retention rate stays with an extremely lower churn rate, I think that speaks pretty highly of any business from the fundamental point
It
of
does.
view.
It does. I mean, 98% is a very high number. And I mean, once again, it's very commendable as to what you're doing and the growth that you're having. All right.
Thank you.
So what kind of culture exists in your organization? I mean, what are the things that you do at your office to make your employees be who they are and to work? I mean, I'm sure because they're working open-heartedly, that's why you have been able to reach where you are today and for the fast growth. I'm sure you are going to attribute it to your employees. So, what kind of work culture do you have?
So you have touched a very important subject, which is very near and dear to me personally, is about the organizational culture. And we have all read that culture eats strategy for breakfast, and I think it's very, very, very true in building any organization. Uh, I look at this business as a team sport. It's not an individual, and I always use this analogy to talk to our team always as well. That even, let's say, a game of cricket or a soccer, the players are, let's say, those 11 players, right? But when you're playing for the World Cup, it doesn't mean that 11 players became 100 players, right? But those are same 11 players who perform at a very high level, but perform together as a team, and that is what we aspire to do. Also, what is very important for me personally as I build this organizational culture. See, culture is, in the beginning, it's driven from the founder and the CEO.
Right.
But as the organization grows and your team grows, today we are over 100 people, the culture is not only dependent on one person. The culture is what everyone brings to the table, how everyone adds and how everyone behaves in certain situation, and that's the culture. So culture is not like one person saying do this or do that, but culture is when a team of people who come together and how they perform in various situations, whether good, bad, tough times, etc. I always keep on saying tough times don't last, but tough teams do. And a very important way for me to kind of infuse that in our business is I truly believe that certain organizations lead their teams from the fear factor, right? Where the teams are always scared about, what about their job security, about how someone's going to perceive, are they going to get shouted at, are they going to get bullied at, right? And I think that's not a very pleasant culture to be. I think the team should be driven from the motivational point of view, that they are truly playing for a team. And again, I go back to the sports analogy. I mean, no one performs in the team because they think, okay, if I don't perform, someone's going to come and take away my job or this or that. Those are automatic byproducts of how you perform. But people perform in the team is because of their love for their team to win the game.
The
And I
passion.
think that's a very important part. So culture is an extremely important part of our organization, and we have been very careful not to dilute it as we grow.
Right, great. So, I mean, being in the UAE, I know we all know that how multicultural UAE is. I mean, do you also have that multicultural aspect in your company? Do you have employees from various places, or your employees are
Absolutely.
just UAE focused?
No, absolutely. I think we have today people from, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh. We have from Yemen. We have from Saudi. We have from Philippines. You name it. I think across 12 or 13 countries we have people here from, and obviously the team in Pakistan, who bring a lot of not only multicultural from the ethnicity point of view, but also from the experience point of view. So not necessarily people who are here are from logistics, etc. I truly value people who bring in fresh perspective, people joining in from banking, from GE, from consulting backgrounds, from hotel industry, from airline industry, because everyone brings their fresh perspective. And when you are building a startup and you're challenging the status quo of old school logistic firms, you need fresh ideas, and fresh ideas can only come when you're coming from a different background, most of the time. So if we just continue to do and bring the same experience which was there before, then I don't think we're going to create something new.
Right.
So bringing that fresh perspective is extremely important. I myself came from banking background without any sort of logistics experience, and I think that helped me because I did not know how much the challenges could be. Sometimes it's good to go a bit unknown. It's like driving a car in the dark with your headlights on, and you can only see 100-meter light, and you believe that the road will unfold. There will be a road after 100 meter, and you keep on driving. So similarly, I think bringing fresh perspective, multicultural background, variety of experience, that's what creates really a magical formula for a company to succeed and to innovate.
That's very impressive. I mean, I've also had the opportunity to interact with some of your employees, and I must say, they are real wonderful people. They've been very courteous and very helpful and very cooperative. So you
We
do
have been
have a
blessed to have a very good team. Yes, we have been very blessed. Yeah.
yes. So when you're hiring your employees, what are some qualities that you look for in an employee while hiring them?
I think attitude is an extremely important part of the overall characteristic. Certain level of skill set, but we truly believe that you hire for that attitude and train for the skill. What I have seen over the last 3-4 years of my experience as we have built this team, people who have come from not from the logistics background or from other experiences, but with a deep desire of learning and contributing and innovating or value adding to this business, have really performed very well. So I think truly it's not a rocket science that we are doing. So it's not a very complicated business. At the crux of any business or the core of any business, I think things are always simple. It's about the drive. As long as someone has, I think there are two or three qualities, right? With the flexibility, the ability to learn, the willingness to learn, and to give 100% is truly what adds, are what basically what I look for when I look for some people to join. And their own ability, the leadership ability, can they be future leaders in our companies? Because we also need to think about their own career path. So it's not only about what they can contribute to the organization, but can the organization give back and help fulfill their own dreams as well as they grow. So these are the things which I look for.
I mean, I must tell you that you're not just an, I mean, at times being an entrepreneur, some people do miss out on the humanity side. But I'm really glad, as I'm finding out from you through this conversation, that you do have a proper balance between being an entrepreneur at the same time with the humanity. I'm really impressed, as you mentioned, it's not just about hiring them and having them work for me, but also you are giving the prospective employees an opportunity to grow and to accomplish their dreams. And I'm really impressed to hear
All things which kind of builds the organizational culture, and that's what we aspire to do.
that.
Yes.
This is really great. This is really amazing. So
Thank
I'm
you.
going to move on towards some personal questions. So it's just about to know what the life of an entrepreneur is like. So my first question would be, what was your key driving force to becoming an entrepreneur? As you have already mentioned that you were from the banking sector, and then all
Yes.
of a sudden you have moved to being an entrepreneur. So what was the driving factor?
See, for me, the driving factor was not the fact that I wanted to become an entrepreneur. It was more of spotting an opportunity, doing the research around it, and getting convinced with the idea that if I don't do it, someone else will do it. This is too big of an opportunity to be missed. And, people have ideas all the time. We all have ideas, so many ideas during the day. But ideas without execution is kind of just an illusion. So I got sucked into this idea more as more and more I did my research on the ground. I, revalidated a lot of things where I saw the gap, and I think I just got sucked into it. So it was not that because I wanted to become an entrepreneur, I did this. I had never thought when I was doing banking that I would be leaving that. I was really enjoying what I used to do as well. I used to do M&A for 10 years, first 5 in the US and the next 5 in the Middle East. And I was enjoying, that was my career path. But somehow, stumbled upon this opportunity and thought, okay, if I'm so convinced about this opportunity and it's worth, then, it's worth taking that risk. So took that leap of faith then and went into entrepreneurship. So that's how I became entrepreneur.
Great. I mean, um, as I hear you more and more, I do kind of get a feeling that some people are just born with certain qualities. So I'm kind of getting a feeling that you are probably a born entrepreneur it's not always that everyone is able to spot an opportunity, but you were able to spot an opportunity and you took up this risk of getting into this. So you probably always had this entrepreneur thing in you.
Probably, I think somewhere hidden inside me because I have grown up in a business background where my father, my brothers, they are all into business. I think what probably, if I were to think back and peel that, layer to see whether I was born or not, I think, being born as an entrepreneur is a very strong statement, so I wouldn't go there. But I think what helped me was the risk-taking ability, where no one frowned upon or questioned that why after 10 or 11 years of your career in banking suddenly leaving and trying something from scratch with a high probability of it failing, right? Just like any other business, the 95%, 98% chances are that it's going to fail. So no one questioned that, including my wife. She's been extremely supportive. So I think that probably helped, if anything at all. I think that risk-taking ability has truly helped us.
And that's one quality that every entrepreneur should have, the ability to take up the risk.
Correct.
So how many hours a day do you work on an average? Are you an workaholic?
Look, I think as an entrepreneur, you have a lot of responsibility on your head, right? It's not only the drive towards what we want to build the business as, but there is a responsibility of your team. You are doing it for your own dreams, passion. There's no gun to our head that I need to do this. So we are doing it out of choice, not by force. So when you're doing it out of choice, I think the hours don't really matter, right? I mean, there is no one who will ask me that, oh, you need to come at this time or leave at that time. And I truly believe entrepreneurship is not a 9 to 5 job, it's a lifestyle. So yeah, I'm thinking about business sometimes 3 a.m. in the morning, so and there is no Fridays or Saturdays. Today, anyways, we are very fortunate that our business is open 7 days a week because we are operating in Pakistan and Middle East. So across various countries, our businesses are always running. So it's not about switching off or offing the on or off button around entrepreneurship or the timing. I think it's more of the lifestyle when one has to accept that's how you need to lead it, and that's what I do. Yeah.
So what does your typical day look like? I mean, how do you have a start of the day and how do you end it?
My typical day basically starts with my morning calls across other geographies, connecting with all the team. I think connecting with all our team members pretty much on a regular basis is extremely important for me. Whether they are physically, we are across 10 offices, so it's physically impossible for me to be everywhere. But I really want our team members to feel that we are all part of one organization, and for that, with the likes of Zoom, etc., has really helped build that connectivity. So the morning basically starts with connecting with the teams, figuring out how the business outlook is for the day, and then there are like so many other things during the whole day which I sometimes need to take care of, from the legal to administrative to HR to business to marketing, so technology. So all these things are there. I think it's very hard to define that. There is no set routine for me. I'm usually a late sleeper, so I'm usually up till pretty late in the night and too early morning. Catching up on my emails, responding, or planning for the next few weeks or plans. So it's pretty ad hoc. I wish I could be a little bit more organized. So I don't have a very good answer to this, and neither would I say that I'm very good at it. I think definitely there's a lot I can learn and improvise on my time management skills and making a proper routine.
So how would you describe yourself on the aspect of being involved with your family? I mean, how involved are you with your family? Is being an entrepreneur keeping you from connecting better with your family, or do you think you're being able to balance it well? Because you've just mentioned in my previous question to your answer to my previous question that your morning starts with taking up calls and answering, replying to emails and connecting with your teams. So how do you balance your work life and family life?
I think, look, it's a struggle to manage that, especially when you are a early stage, fast growing company. Your focus is on about building the business. So to finding that work life balance on a daily basis does become a struggle. And my kids, I have two boys who are now turning 8 soon. They are twin boys, and they complain about it all the time. That I mean, they're still very young to understand, but they always like, oh, every morning when I'm leaving these days, because they are studying from home, doing the online learning. Every morning when I'm leaving, they'll be the first ones to say, don't go to the office, without understanding, right?
Right.
So and because my calls etc are up till very very late in the evening, definitely there is a bit of a you have to sacrifice on that. But I think then the family becomes understanding, and they realize that we are at that stage of the company where we cannot afford to not give 100% to this, or maybe 800% of our you know this thing to the business. So but hopefully over time this will evolve. So again, there is a bit of a struggle around that, but it works out.
Great. So going your boys. So do you see you just mentioned you have twins. So do you see the characteristics of an leadership things or the characteristics of an entrepreneur in any one of them? Like,
I think they need to be trained. I believe. So my take is, they should, instead of thinking as an entrepreneurial mindset, first the individual needs to work somewhere. So, as soon as they grow up a little bit more, I would be the first ones to bring them here and, put them as an intern here, maybe, and start from the scratch and learn, from the ground level up. Because until and unless you do that, you learn about all aspects of business, and most importantly learn the characteristics of being accountable, and responsible. Till then you cannot become an entrepreneur. So I think they need to be infused with certain characteristics which are going to help build their characteristics or skill sets, and then the right moral compass. Teaching them the right values and having the right moral compass is extremely important, as they if they want to grow up and be an entrepreneur.
right. So what is your greatest fear and how do you manage your fear? We all do have some sort of fear hidden inside us. Some of us do expose it, some of us keep it under the shelf. So what's your fear and how do you manage it?
So you're absolutely right. Being an entrepreneur doesn't mean that someone is fearless. There is a lot of fear, right? But it's the courage to get up and still doing it is what probably keeps us going. There is, just like anyone else, there is a fear of failure. There is a fear of organizational culture getting diluted. There's a fear of that will I be there's so many people who have believed in me to join this organization to help build this company, what we dream of. Will I be able to fulfill their dreams back? So, there's a lot of fear always and nervousness combined with excitement. So it's kind of, both there's exciting and there is fear. So it's almost like you can think of, sitting on a roller coaster, right? You
Actually,
enjoy
it's
the
a
thrill, but you are scared
combination.
as well. Yes.
I mean,
So
the
just
excitement
sitting
keeps
in the
you
roller
going, and
coaster.
the fear, even if the fear is trying to stop you, the excitement keeps you going.
Exactly. So it's a very much like, going to a theme park and sitting on a roller coaster, that kind of feeling.
So who has been your greatest inspiration?
I think the team, uh, team inspires me because people come from all walks of life with all kinds of backgrounds and experiences. Um, and, a lot of people come from very, different upbringing as well. And just there to see their ability to come in a new environment and flourish, or perform at a very high level, I think it teaches you a lot. So I think instead of having one individual, I think it's a combination of individuals. I think from every individual you can draw a certain level of inspiration of they do what they do, whether it could be personally or it could be professionally, what they have done for their own families, or how they have come and left their spouses or kids back home, and they're coming here and still working very hard to build a better future for their family. And I think that's a true inspirational quality, rather than looking at someone, an influential figure. But I think we can get inspired from daily walks of our life, coming across people, on a daily basis.
That's really impressive. I mean, I've not never heard this before. Someone, an entrepreneur, especially, telling me that my inspiration comes from my team. That's really very impressive to hear. Um,
Thank
just this is the favorite part of my question. So, if you had a magic stick, what are three things that you would want to change in this world?
Wow. So I think, well, given the current situation, obviously one would be COVID-19, to get rid of that. I think second would be hunger from children, people, children specifically, who go hungry across the world, if, they could be well fed. And I think education, again, for children, people who are, if you have a decent education, if you have the right educational background, and that kind of really sets them for that upward trajectory in the long run. So I think these are the three things probably which I would think about.
All right. We are going to move on to the advice sections. So, what entrepreneurial tricks would you have focused? I'm sorry, I'm just going to rephrase it again. So, what entrepreneurial tricks have you discovered to keep you focused and productive in your day-to-day business schedule?
I don't think there are specific tricks. Over a period of time, you evolve as an entrepreneur as well. I'm a student of entrepreneurship. I am also learning on a daily basis. But what is key and what is important is probably self motivation, because as an entrepreneur, while you are motivating the team, there you don't have someone motivating you. And during a daily hustle, you are going through several lows, and you're looking for that one high to self motivate and keep going. So I think self motivation is an important attribute, I would say.
All right. What piece of advice would you give to college graduates who are aspiring to become an entrepreneur?
My honest piece of advice would be that, they should research their ideas. They should keep on, working on that ground level work. But my also advice would be that go and work somewhere for a couple of years, right? Start from working at an organization, whether big, small, whatever that organization size is, because it teaches you a few things. It teaches you how to be accountable, how to be responsible, how to be answerable, discipline, uh, and also a vision. It also gives you a vision of seeing that if you were to build something, how can this become big in an organization? Also, what it teaches to people as an entrepreneur then is what are the aspirations of your team members, because when you're working as a as an employee somewhere, you learn, and you can start relating when you're on the other side, that what drives them, what do they like and what do they don't like. Because if you don't have that, then you are pretty much going into the dark as an entrepreneur without having, because there's no one then there to ask you, or to hold you accountable, hold you responsible, or how will you relate with what drives your team? So I feel being somewhere and working for a couple of years or a few years teaches you all those skills, which would then probably be helpful for you as you then learn entrepreneurship when you go to that side.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. JV, for this wonderful conversation. And I have completely enjoyed every answer that you gave us. As I mentioned before, I mean, with your every answer, I was able to pick out some pieces of advice. So this has been really great. And we really thank you for giving us this opportunity to have this conversation with you. And we thank your team for being with us and for cooperating with us and for creating this wonderful opportunity to have this conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Likewise, I really enjoyed some great questions which you had and really made me think a lot as well. So truly appreciate your time as well.
Thank
And
you.
once again, thank you for having me.
Thank you.
If you liked our video, don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe to get great content regularly.